Big homie, man. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Good to see you, man. We locked in. Let's get to it. What we doing? What we doing?
Shit, bro. We just finna go ahead and figure some shit out, bro. So, first and foremost, I want you to kind of introduce yourself and where you from and the steps to lead you into this point where you are in life right now.
For sure. My name is Big Homie .CC. Worked as a celebrity bodyguard, 16 years for the who's who. Ended
Okay.
up converting my business to protecting women, and it led me to combating human trafficking and speaking out against certain oppressions and certain illicit activities by certain groups.
Hmm.
Set me on a trajectory. You feel me? So here we are. I'm out here in Africa right now. I'm in Mogadishu. I'm
Okay.
investigating a cult right now, a starvation cult, and
Hmm.
just living in my purpose, brother.
Right. Right. Understandable for sure.
All
That's
right,
interesting though, bro. Like you only know it is your purpose because, like, I'm pretty sure you never thought you'd be doing nothing like this. But yeah.
man. Hell no, not a chance. I never thought it would lead to all of this. But the
Yeah.
turning point was 2018. I'm in Chicago. A lady comes to us, tells us, actually had a video. Her daughter was gang raped by a group of guys. She gave us some money. She
Yeah.
wanted retribution. She got that retribution. It led to a 50K bounty being placed on my life. And it just started a
Wow.
war, started a crazy war. I can send you some footage about that. You feel me? And
No, I just seen you post about that on IG. Yeah.
okay, yes, sir.
Mhm.
You be on point. So
Yeah, I just seen it.
just fighting evil, bro. It led to a lot of different situations, some very austere situations. But here we are. You feel me? I chose to walk in the light, and it was a long journey. It was we had several bloody days, but here we are
Yeah. Right. We here, bro.
for
So,
sure.
yeah. So like you said you work with a lot of celebrities. Like who's some of the like big time celebrities that you have worked with alongside? I know one of them
Man,
Diddy for sure. I seen that.
yeah, so Iman Shumpert, Teyana Taylor, Lady Gaga, Little John, Will I Am. I never worked for Diddy personally, but protecting people who frequented his events is how I met. That's how I interacted with the Zest Monster.
Ah, yeah.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Is he really what they paint him out to be? Or is he just like all of them, all the rest of them?
Everything is true and more,
Right.
for sure.
Nah, but I feel like everybody in the industry, they all do it to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Nothing, everything almost goes at that point when you at that such a high level. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. The thing is, like most of them will properly compensate people for things instead of tricking them into doing things by offering them stuff, making promises, and then reneging on those promises. Had he paid Cassie what she felt like she deserved in the inception of this nonsense, he would have saved a lot of money. He paid her
Right,
30 million. $30 million was his was the price he had to pay, and innocence doesn't cost that much.
right,
For sure, bro.
right.
They these,
So like,
these boys real zesty, bro. Like I say, 90% of them. So that's why I tell people be careful. You know, go underground, stay independent. Because the moment you don't, they coming for them cakes. So keep that in mind.
yeah, nah, I be hearing people say that. Like for sure, one of them I used to watch a lot. Unk, oh, he always say something like that. Like he always talk about booty hole and all that weird shit.
His
So
ass
yeah,
crazy. His
yeah, they
ass.
yeah, so they usually go both ways. They like both pieces.
Yeah. They all bisexual weirdos, bro. That's what I call them. Straight up. That's where the whole zest monster term came from. You feel
Yeah,
me? Because when you oppressing people, that make you a monster. You know what I'm saying?
right. Hmm.
And I seen it firsthand. You feel me? Straight up and down. That's why it's kind of like when I first started speaking about this back in 2012, 2013, people told me I was a hater. I'm like, hating on what? What am I hating on? You feel me? Like,
Yeah, fact.
You think I'm hating that guys getting bent over in the studio? No, man. You feel me? I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's been able to work out for me because, the most important thing for a man is his etiquette and his manhood. You know,
Right.
once you sacrifice those two, I never seen anybody come out on the other side healthy. Look at the guy Lil Nas X. You
Hmm.
see what you see? He just got locked. He got arrested, having a mental breakdown. He was pushing that agenda heavily. He even went and got fake breast implants. You saw that?
Nah, I ain't see that. That's crazy though.
Yeah. And now you feel me? The fame is gone. The money done dried up. The labels ain't paying no more. They just locked him up. He down there in L.A. having a psychotic episode.
Yeah. Nah, damn. That's crazy.
Evil, evil shit going on.
Yeah. They ran them dry and then what? Just put them up for real.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
Yeah. You think the same thing is with like sports and stuff like that too, or you think that's just because that's the industry too, not just the music industry.
With sports is a little bit different
Yeah.
because your performance as an athlete takes several different levels: mental, physical. You know, you in order to meet the demands of your contract, you have to be able to show up and show out. A lot of times in the music industry, there are people you've never seen on the stage, but they were a major contributor to the act being able to go and be profitable for people. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
kind of like, you can't have an athlete out all night off drugs and alcohol, partying all night the day before a game or a match, or because when they show up for that game, they're not gonna perform. So that's the difference, and it's harder to hide it with a performance athlete. But you got a producer, the sound guy, a ghostwriter, those type of people. Anything can happen to them, and you'll never hear the story because they're not on the performance set. They're not getting booked to show up and get on the stage. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nah, I feel you. But like as far as the celebrities you have worked with, are they truly regular people or like are they personalities all?
Well, I always say this: every superstar has their ways, and
Okay.
that's why it's important if you going into that world that you set your boundaries, because I've seen it over and over and over. Like people will sell their soul. Like people will do anything to hang with the famous people. So if you don't set those boundaries, then certain activities that they do to others, they'll try to inflict upon you. So I'm gonna tell you, if you ever want a certain type of event, and the rich dudes want to put their arm around you and hug on you and shit like that, they want to see if you cool with that, because then they're gonna try something further. They're gonna try something further. That's why I'm known for blowing the spot up because I'm not going for any of that type of activity.
Right.
And you'd be surprised, bro. I done seen guys having fights with their friends. Like, man, bro, that's a lot of money. It's a big opportunity. I'm about to do it. And they're like, what, nigga? I'm not doing that shit. And you
Yeah.
will see people falling out, lifelong friendships falling out over this. You feel me? Because
Yeah.
just the thought, just the thought of seeing their name in lights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just the thought of seeing their name in lights to have people literally risking it all.
I mean, since you're doing such a project that's against, a lot of big companies and fighting evil, which evil is winning, is ruling majority of the planet. Have you not been like approached with like suspicious people, like people watching you, nothing like that?
Oh, all the time, all the time. That's why I left the country. This is a rough lifestyle. I, I never stayed no place longer than 48 hours.
Hmm.
I've been completely debanked. You know, somebody logged into my Chime account, changed the phone number. That just happened just yesterday. My PayPal account was seized. My bank told me that I called in and canceled and closed my account, and they're sending me a check. So it's just like, who did that?
Yeah.
You feel who did?
Goddamn. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, when I go live on YouTube, as soon as I start speaking about certain topics, the live freeze, I get kicked off the stream. The truth is definitely stranger than fiction, and the conspiracy is real. It's a real thing going on.
Right. It don't bother you that your life is at, you know, threat at all times. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people don't want that smoke, but it seemed like you all for it though.
What I realized is these people feed off fear and anxiety and self doubt. None of them want a challenge. You see what I'm saying? And the
Right.
way I'm a gangster, bro. You feel me? Like I was born into a certain culture, and since a young kid, my dad had bodyguards because he had made some type of computer program for the Clinton administration, and he wasn't cooperating with them. And FBI comes to the house telling us it's threats against him, threats against me. You know,
Fear.
my bodyguards as a kid, they made me a monster, bro. I'm very trained in everything dangerous. I'm well versed. I know what I signed up for. You know, I wouldn't advise any normal person to just jump into this shit. You feel me? Because man, it's gonna get crazy. You feel me? There's no way
Yeah.
around that.
Hmm.
That's coming. So it's just like
But you gotta you gotta be a certain type of person to take on a mission like this. Like, you know what I'm saying?
you got to be a warrior in your heart. You got to wake up in the morning and you got to know for a fact that if I don't stand on this business, I might lose. So it's no lacking. There's no taking no breaks. It's every day is going down, and you got to be prepared for that. It's not for everybody, and I'll
Facts.
just leave it. It's not for everybody for sure.
Yeah. Factual. Factual. Nah, bro, that's dangerous, bro. You real life like a military person in like civilian life, if you know what I mean,
No,
type
I
thing.
know exactly what you mean, but I always worked on big security teams full of military guys. You feel me? So like
Yeah.
I was always the youngest one though. So I had to do all the grunt work. I had to do all the shit they didn't want to do. So it prepared me. Everything I went through throughout my life prepared me for these moments. And I don't know what else I would be doing if it wasn't this. You feel me? So it's like
Facts.
I'm cool with it. You feel me? I do gotta
Right.
I gotta clock this ticking. I can't do it forever. You feel me?
Right.
I was getting ready to get done with it. I would go public with my story, bring awareness, try to wake up my people before I make
Hmm.
my great escape.
Right. Facts.
Yep.
People that usually do jobs like this, like you never be like, damn, like it can be a day like my life would be cut short. I may not live a long life, and that's okay type thing, because like I'm doing God's work or, my purpose type thing.
Sure, for sure. The thing with that is this. Every day we wake up and we see stories about people thought that they was gonna have a regular day. They walk outside, get hit by a bus. They
Right.
didn't know that. They didn't know that was gonna happen. So everything that I do is severely calculated. Proper preparation will always prevent poor performance. I had to
Facts.
be. I had to keep my situational awareness high, and you got to take calculated risk. You just can't be out here doing anything, otherwise you will get defeated for sure. You know, my mom everybody always said I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Simply because I always felt like this. If I let somebody play with me today, I'm opening up the door for everybody to play with me tomorrow. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like you crazy if you let a lot of shit slide.
Right.
But when people know, like, damn, there will be repercussions to my actions, they gonna think 3 or 4 times before they do some bullshit. And that's what it's all about. In the black community, we used to reprimand each other for doing nonsense. That didn't went under the table. I'm trying to bring that back because we must police ourselves if we want adequate treatment from people in positions of power.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Facts. So like, can you share like any of the crazy situations that you had to deal with while, on this mission?
Man, it's a crazy situation every day. Just like yesterday, we were trying to do this interview. Guy calls me. He trying to get his son back, and
Like
I
his
can
son
tell
was
you.
kidnapped?
So his son, his baby mother took his son out the state without permission. Then his
Right.
son, his baby mother, she's getting sex trafficked. So now his son is experiencing some of the same things. He's calling his father, telling him what's going on. His dad is getting arrested, getting locked up, trying to get his son back. I'll tell you this: it was a situation that took place. This is in Chicago. A lady, she got a drug addiction,
Right.
and some other ladies that know her said, "Big homie, you know she trading her daughter to them boys over there for drugs." I'm like, "What you mean trading them?" So oftentimes you'll see an addict that will pretty much trade their child for sexual favors in exchange for drugs or whatever their addiction is. It led to a situation for us going, we go get the little girl back, can't
Hmm.
find the mom, can't find the mama. So the little girl with us for weeks at a time until, I had to get my mom and my aunties involved. They ended up getting child protective services involved. And that led to several shootouts because I don't like talking about this, but one of the guys who ended up getting knocked out and shit, we took his phone. In his phone, he had photos of this young child's private areas, and he's bragging to other guys in the group chat about how he said it was as tight as my palm being closed, and it had no hair on it. Think about that.
Wow.
That's evil work.
That's that's sick.
Sick. So when situations like that come about, and these are violent people. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And sometimes they want to get their get back. It's been a constant state of war for me. So like being in Africa right now is probably the most peaceful time I've had in since I was a child. No bullshit.
Nah, facts. I want to for sure travel out the country. Have a little
Man, pull
spot
up,
outside the U.S.
get your
No, I'm gonna have
passport,
to,
pull
man. I'm gonna have to, man. One of these days, for sure, for sure, for
slide,
sure.
slide.
Yeah. But now I want to ask you these questions that happened not too long ago, probably like maybe a month ago, 3 weeks ago. But the I found it real suspicious. Them three celebrities that passed away: Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne, and Hulk Hogan. And
Yeah,
I seen some
death,
videos where they say deaths happen in three. What's your take on that?
all death always happen in threes. I'm glad you said that. There's always going to be an analytical approach to this because the mathematics not going to lie. It helps you predict things and you kind of foresee what's going to take place. The thing is, these people make agreements. They make agreements with people who are worshiping and serving malevolent supernatural entities. And when it's time for them to collect, they're going to collect. And with all of these agreements, the trade off is eventually they're going to want your life. It's not a coincidence. You see all of these stars dying in bathtubs in Hollywood, dying somewhere alone in a house by suicide. Uh, People dying. Their dog is dead. The cat is dead. This type of things are taking place because of agreements people are making in exchange for seeing their name in lights. How many times have you seen celebrities die and they ended up being broke at their death?
Too many times,
All,
actually.
too many. It's all about the trade. All about the trade off.
So you saying a lot of these celebrities be knowing that even they have like a little time period to have a little fame and the money, and eventually that they know like you dying at a certain time.
They don't know when, but they do know doom is impending for sure.
Hmm.
Look at Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey spoke out about some of this shit, and 2 days later, his wife was dead. He haven't spoke out ever since.
That's crazy.
That's how it goes down, bro.
Why do they want your life? Is that just like some Masonic ritual, or like is that how it just work?
So, when you ever heard the term "Oh, I sold my soul"?
Yeah.
That's what they mean. You feel me? Like at the end, they want your soul. In order to get your soul, they got to get it from your corpse. The only time
Mm.
your soul leaves your body is when your physical body is dead.
I'm thinking though it meant like they're controlling your soul, like for you to be in this position. we make all, we just control you, you know what I'm saying? Like you have no more control, and you have no more free will of your own, and we control you now.
They can't control your soul because your soul isn't yours. Your soul was given to you. What they can't control is what you do to affect others, to corrupt them. What they do is they control what you do, what you say, who you say it to. They keep you under a list of parameters. You know, in Rock Nation contracts, it's in the literature of the contract that you cannot speak about Jesus. This is what I'm saying. Like, that's what it leads up to at the end of the day. It's a
Right.
literal fight between good and evil for sure.
So you think Jesus is powerful? Like, do you think? Because I didn't heard terms of Jesus being, you know that the God of the Bible is really the devil, and they're tricking, which will make sense because if we are living in evil, they wouldn't want to liberate the people that they control. So why would they give you such power? And why would they give they give the prisoners all type of thing. So
Yeah.
like, why would they
In,
liberate you?
in 1647, King James and 47 clergymen edited the Bible. That's why the most popular Bible in the world is the King James Bible. They removed the book of Enoch and several other books out the book. So the true information that you need to fight these beings is not in that book. And I've seen the Bible be used to actually cast out demons. So I'm not going to say that God is actually the devil and stuff like that because the Catholic prayer is Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now unto the hour of our death. Amen. And they don't want to give a woman that much power and control, but even God had a mother. Jesus had a mother. That's why you see women treated as second class citizens everywhere because, you know, the most prolific liar on the planet is the man. And the ones who go against that are oftentimes exiled, murdered, casted out. And this is why we constantly see this battle. That's why you see there's always a war being waged against strong men. Because with no strong men, evil can perpetuate anything at any time against anybody. The devil
Mm.
is not God. According to the book, he's a fallen angel who was casted out for thinking he was bigger than the program. And the issue is everyone have all these different interpretations, but everyone needs to get their hands on a translated copy of the Ethiopian Bible with the Book of Enoch in it, and that will literally close a lot of questionable chapters in people's lives for sure.
The original Bible was, you'll find it in, you say, Ethiopia?
Ethiopian Bible still has the Book of Enoch
Oh, okay.
for sure.
Okay, yeah. These trafficking rings, right? A lot of them have been discovered, like, under these hospitals and under these, big infrastructures that, just big corporations or whatever the case may be. It's like the whole underground tunnels that run through the whole world. I seen a video saying a dude got from like California to New York in like an hour or something like that.
Here's the thing with that. You can look this up. There's a patent for a MAGLEV train. It's a magnetically levitated train that can travel from East Coast to West Coast in under an hour. I've interviewed people who said they took this train. The patents are public information, they exist. And all of this is real. Throughout history, there have been several cataclysms that took place on the planet. In order for people to survive these cataclysms, they had to go underground. That's why across the world, you see these empty underground networks and cities that were built for this. There's
Right.
a tribe in America called the Hopi tribe, Native Americans. In their creation story, there's a group called the Ant People. They said the Ant People came from underground and gave them knowledge and taught them information on how to survive the cataclysms on the surface. In order to be able to live subterranean, you gotta have approval. That's where all of these stories come from. That's where we seen a whistleblower come out and said the government spent 21 trillion on building underground cities in case of an extinction event. All
Right.
across America, we hear people coming out, yo, I hear loud booms and banging on the ground. hear all of this sounds. That's what's going on down there. And then you see Elon Musk. He has his boring company. Elon
Hmm.
Musk is tunnels all through Vegas just for his electric vehicles. That same technology, there are patents for that to build these underground tunnels. There's a patent. Those are all patented information. You can look this up. They don't allow this information to be used in free technology simply because it would give a great imbalance to the power structures across the world and the international bankers. Because if you can use magnetic elevation, basically anti-gravity, for travel, that would completely eliminate the use for coal, fossil fuels. All of those billionaires' net worth would drop in a matter of minutes. So that's why they keep us in this matrix with one set of science when they know other sets of science definitely exist.
For Elon Musk though, he trying to do the whole transhumanism thing, and also then seeing that recently that the AIs are now able to have babies.
Thing with this is AI is the biggest threat to humanity that exists. Elon was upset with the government because they weren't putting certain provisions in bills and laws to prevent AI from making human beings pretty much non-needed. No, nobody is telling people to reclass or reskill themselves, while AI is going to literally make the common everyday laborer obsolete. Because if you're a big company and you want to increase productivity, you can hire a robot that does not get tired, don't have to take days off work for kids, don't have to have a cigarette break or anything like that. AI is going to crush the middle class. What are they going to do with all of those people who are going to be out of a job? So now you see they're bringing up this whole global pay scale system where basically they don't have to pay human beings to live because robots are going to be doing most of the jobs.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's like extincting people, really. Like people gonna die.
That's why Elon is trying to have people become transhuman and integrate technology into their bodies so they can pretty much compete and be able to have a sort of balance with robot workers and sentient biological workers.
Hmm.
For
When
sure.
when wouldn't that like trap that would trap your soul? You know, if you become one with this, you'll never get your God will never get your soul back.
Well, your soul isn't yours. Your soul isn't for you to decide where it goes unless you follow certain religious rhetorics. Um, I believe in what you believe is where you will go in the afterlife. Scientists have come out and said that they have proven that the afterlife takes place in another dimension. So when you hear about hauntings and ghost stories, that would make sense. It's almost like people are caught in the in between. They haven't completely crossed over. Maybe if this is all a simulation and being ran by some hyper advanced computer, every computer has errors, every computer has flaws. That
Hmm.
could actually prove that
Hmm.
for sure.
So you definitely think this is a simulation,
For sure.
and you think you
It's,
can hack into it and like make it work in your favor?
yeah, I
Hmm.
do. Because the moment I decided I was just going to fight, I wasn't going to live in fear, and I was going to stand on certain business, it's almost like there's some type of supernatural force that's helping me. I can't all the way
Hmm.
explain, but sometimes I'll know things I'm not supposed to know. I'll hear, I've had voices talk to me and tell me, look, don't go out that door, they're waiting. Sure enough, ambush waiting. You feel me? You know,
Yeah.
there's a reason they keep us preoccupied with so much because it's almost like we're a race of people with amnesia. Because ever so often you'll hear about somebody who has this supernatural ability and they'll do a brain scan and they're able to use an extra zero point 0.5 of a percentage of their brain. Imagine where your senses would be if you didn't have to worry about making money, if you didn't have to worry about paying bills, if you didn't have to grind so hard. Where would your senses be? That may
Hmm.
not be for a global or a nationwide power structure. And human freedom is a direct enemy to the control structure that's been introduced to us for sure.
Right. Now, I mean, I feel like this whole system is just to keep you away from yourself because I feel like with you believing in the system, right?
Right?
They're able to control you. I feel like the system is the only thing that's able is the reason why we're able to be controlled. Because we, like you said, if we didn't have survival on our brain and like just all the bullshit, the taxes, the extra shit that we worried about on a daily basis as soon as we wake up, where would our mind go to then? What kind of creativity would, flow out of us then? You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you. So throughout history, we've heard stories about certain tribes of people who just completely disappeared. There's a group called the Anasazi. The Anasazi is a whole tribe, a whole group of people who disappeared. No one knows where they went. There was food still left on the tables. There was, it's almost as if everyone disappeared at one time. I believe this group was able to transcend and reach a certain level of consciousness and travel to a different dimension.
Hmm.
That's really what it breaks down to. We just seen at congressional hearings in America from UFO whistleblowers. Rep. Luna doesn't call them aliens. She says extra dimensionals. Retired FBI agent John D'Souza, who ran the FBI's X Files program, he has a book called The Extra Dimensionals. So, it's of my belief that these aliens and demons are pretty much non-human time travelers who can go in and out of dimensions, and some of them feed on the fear and anxiety and the despair of the human condition.
Right,
For
right.
sure.
So I feel like you said, going back to the whole tribe thing, like I mean, I kind of look at life as like a game where you kind of level up and you're not supposed to be here for, for too long. So like with the tribe, you said they kind of disappear, right? I
Yep.
feel like transcending is really leaving the meat body and transcending to your light body. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
going back to the Jesus story, I think when they say that basically was Jesus showing you that you can transcend out of this realm, but you can't
Yeah.
take your meat stick body, you know what I'm saying? You have to you going to heaven and stuff like that is you reaching a certain frequency to where your light body is able to transcend out of this physical reality, this 3D reality. And it's also like, they said it's certain times, like right now in the times where everything is lining up for people to raise their frequency and get out of hollow earth, like the 3D dimension, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely. You're right.
Right. So with that being said, it's like I don't think a lot of people really understand that like it's everything's really a distraction to keep you from leveling up, basically.
For sure.
Because
For sure.
a lot of people that work, the people that run the planet aren't able to transcend and they're trying to stop your transition, you know what I'm saying? And keep you down here and keep you what you
Right.
said, landing in between. Think you
Yep.
were saying something like that with Ghost and stuff. Like I remember I talked to B Dale, you're talking about Casper. That was basically showing you the land in between and how
True.
it kind of operates. But yeah, so yeah, what are your thoughts on that though? Because like I know right now the sun is heating up, the frequency is rising, truth is going against misinformation right now. Um, what do you kind of think what do you think of the times right now? Like what should people be doing in your opinion?
In my opinion, I feel like people need to be learning the original skills that we had as human beings of being hunters, gatherers,
Mhm.
leaders, gainers of knowledge, simply because one EMP pulse will send us back to the Stone Age. And if people don't know how to use proper skills for foraging, growing their own food, there's going to be famine, there's going to be mass death, and that shows you that human beings are definitely a resource on this planet for more powerful groups because if they don't want you to transcend, it's because they need you here for a reason. And that reason is probably not in your exact best interest. That's why they keep the information hidden.
Facts.
Sure.
Facts. So like, yeah. So right now, in spiritual terms, a lot of people think that we have reached like we're in Revelations. The Revelations is the big reveal. So basically, we transcended past this fake system, and we're going into like the golden age, or back to how things were operated before, extraterrestrials or whatever hijacked the planet.
The thing with the revelations theory is if we stick into biblical texts, that means that there will have to be 1,000 years of peace before revelations could take place. We haven't seen 1,000 years of peace.
Mm.
So when it comes to the revelations theory, there are a lot of things that have not taken place yet. But we got this situation with this interstellar object called 3I Atlas that is traveling to our solar system, giving off its own light. The situation looks like we may have some sort of visitors showing up, and ontological shock is real.
Right.
We're watching people convert to Christ like we've never seen before. We're seeing by the millions people leaving Islam and choosing Christianity. And it's almost as if like everybody knows that outside of all of this, we need something else because without I got it tatted on my body. Like, well, without my faith, there's no way I would be able to continue on this path because what would I have to believe in? You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you can't fight a war with an army without having belief.
Right.
Belief, belief is what triggers revolutions. It triggers revolts. Without that, we will all just be sheep getting led to slaughter for sure.
I mean, I kind of feel like that's what's going on right now, though. You know what I'm saying? Like we in cities, everybody moving to these very small areas, and it's like they lured us to a system to where they drop off food. We no longer grow food no more. Where they
Exactly.
basically, yeah. So they basically dumped. If you think about it on a deeper level, they dumbed us down. So now it's like we having generations, we having kids, and these kids don't know how to do nothing, but maybe be on digitals and you know, nothing nothing that has to do with true survival. And I feel like that is leading us to the slaughterhouse because we don't know how to do shit no more. So when the grid go out eventually, or food stop or whatever happened, because these movies, like you said, movies show you everything. Like it's straight destruction, or we gonna destroy ourselves. So it's like we already in them slaughters, and all they gotta do is click a button and we're fucked.
The only thing stopping them from pressing those buttons is the monotony of the human condition where this person does this, this person does this, this person does this to keep this person up here at that level. So look at the situation that's going on in Gaza. Humanitarian aid is so important there because if those people were growing their own food and self-reliant off the land, there wouldn't be no famine, wouldn't be no need for humanitarian aid to be allowed in. It's all a part of the scheme. Somebody set all of that up. And it always leads back to the same group of people. I always implore everybody, thanks to the use of AI, to go listen to Hitler's speech translated into English. It all leads back to the same group of people. And I feel like we all know who those people are. And their day of retribution is coming.
So what do you think will happen in a blackout? Because I didn't seen threats on blackouts happening from social media, from important people. Well, what do you? I think the population will be shit going down in huge percentages every day.
Yeah, the same thing we always see whenever there's a natural disaster. pain, despair, human lives lost. And with all these brilliant people and brilliant minds we have on the planet, it's not suspicious to anyone that we can't solve simple problems. And that's got to be by design because there's a being that exists. These shadow beings that people always say they see. You ever catch some out the corner of your eye? That's real, bro. You feel me? Look up Prodigy, the rapper interview he had with the therapist. You should check that
Mm.
out because I know a guy named Bobo Fay. Bobo Fay is a Bigfoot researcher, and some of his colleagues encountered these shadow beings in certain areas, and they had to shine certain type of lights on them to keep them away. Everybody that we see walking around on the planet is not a flesh and blood human being like us. That is a fact. And they drip feed certain information in movies so it'll be fantasy to you because the supernatural exists and these people indeed serve it. The problem is there are 1,500 different dimensions apparently, all existing on top of each other. So the variations can actually be infinite to the differences of people, beings, situations that we can see. That's why it all boils down to the Buddhist monks talking about enlightenment. Because due to my research, it seems as if that Jesus himself traveled and studied with these same monks because he was also searching for greater knowledge. Because at the end of the day, he never seen his father. You feel me? According to the literature, he was born to a virgin woman. So he gonna have these abilities. He's gonna travel around and try to harness and seek more knowledge. The key to defeating these people and these entities is actually knowledge and just being brave. Because without that, there's no way to save yourself or your people. So when you whatever you see under attack, that will let you know what's needed to be victorious, for sure.
With the government saying that aliens was real, right?
Right?
And there could be alien invasions and all that. Do you think that's something that they will plan with like UGI technology, or would that be something as far as like people talk about Anunnakis or whatever coming to save us? Basically, everybody talk about a savior that's coming from these beings.
Right. Part of the human condition that I've seen is this need to feel special, and that's not the case at all. The Anunnaki, if those Sumerian tablets are indeed true, they manipulated DNA to make us to be a slave race, to mine gold and do their bidding. Where do you think human beings learned about slavery from? Because they indeed were slaves. So if you think somebody who created you to be a slave is coming to save you, you're out your mind on the gas. That's not the truth. Human beings want to feel so special, but 90% of everything that lived on the earth is dead.
Do you think slavery has always been was it you think it's always been a physical thing, or was it always a mental thing? Because I feel like right now we in mental slavery.
Yeah,
And I feel like it's always
slavery just evolved. But at the same time, physical slavery still does exist. Every Thursday in Mauritania, there's a slave auction. They didn't outlaw slavery in Mauritania until 1988. You travel through Afghanistan and Iraq, there are people that are still indeed slaves, indentured service, indentured servitude, whatever you want to call it. You know, that's one way to keep people enslaved. The other way to keep them enslaved outside of physical is going to be mental. It's no coincidence that they taught the slaves the King James Bible. Second Peter gives you instructions on how to be a good slave. Slaves would say, "Oh, you can lock my body, but you can't lock my mind." So then they introduce religion to them to indeed lock their mind. So you're
yeah.
100% right. You're 100% right.
With these clones though, the clones like I personally believe Kanye is like a clone. You know what I'm saying?
So
Do you feel like all these big time celebrities be having clones that, perform on stages and go on tours and stuff like that we actually interact with. I feel like technology has got that advanced to where the actual person don't, physically have to be there.
Did you know you can get your dog cloned?
I didn't know that.
You can get your dog cloned. I know a dude who got his dog cloned and he paid so that his dog would have glow in the dark nails. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
International law exists to ban cloning. Why would
Hmm.
international laws exist to ban human cloning if human cloning wasn't possible? Joe Biden, who we just saw, was definitely a clone.
Right.
All right, FBI agent John DeSouza said it himself. We called him the Biden clone. Donald Trump said it. Yeah, Donald Trump said it also himself. So you got to keep these type of things in mind. Cloning is definitely real. It's going on every day. You can clone a sheep, a pig, a dog. You can clone a person.
I just wonder how would that process look like though? Like I know I've been seeing the movies and stuff, like
Genes,
they clone Tyrone.
it's gene splicing,
Hmm.
and then you create a womb. You create the womb to nurse that embryo. Same process, bro. You feel
Right.
me? Will
Yeah.
it have a? That's the key. That's the question.
Right. Okay. So what have you ever been to Antarctica?
No.
Okay. And I know the main topic people talk about the ice wall. I ain't never been there either.
The
You know.
thing they talk about the wall. Are you familiar with General Admiral Byrd? With Admiral Byrd?
I heard the name before.
I don't. There's not an ice. There is an ice wall, but there's like a ice shelf that leads to a gigantic hole. Look this up. This is all facts. Antarctica is the only place on Earth where every country on the planet has agreed to a treaty where we will not war here. We will all research here in peace. Simply because they're not going to allow war there. There are definitely beings that exist that's calling the shots down there for sure. And there are maps that showed Antarctica with grass, trees, different animal populations. And whenever they dig up a woolly mammoth, it still got food in its mouth and stomach. Antarctica froze in a matter of minutes. There's definitely a lost civilization in Antarctica because you see
Mm.
it's up there pyramids showing about the ice. Abraham Lincoln said himself that the burial mounds across America are filled with the bones of giants who used to overlook that land.
Hmm.
Look that up.
That's crazy. So it's like now, I seen some maps where like we kind of like fishbowl into a certain part of the planet. Like we're not seeing the full planet as though they show you in the map. You know what I'm saying? Like there's way more to the planet in like this realm that we're not seeing. Like why are they do they have us inside this ice and not letting us explore outward?
In the Sumerian tablets of the story of the Anunnaki, humans rebelled. When the
Mm.
humans rebelled, they left the planet. Same shit. Another rebellion is coming. We got a short window. Hopefully, we got enough brave souls to get the information out. But in the Sumerian tablets, humans rebelled against the Anunnaki. Same thing is happening right now. We're rebelling against these malevolent forces that are manipulating people in positions of power to keep us oppressed. Straight up.
Right. And you think a revolution is coming?
The revolution is now. I remember a time where a conversation like this being had would have been taboo.
Hmm.
We two black men having this conversation. People are gonna watch it, and the revolution is taking place every day. The more we get the information out, um, more contributions are being made in this battle against evil for sure.
Right. And at the end of the day, this will eventually be more and more a topic in everybody's mouth because like more and more things are going to happen, and
Yep.
more things are going to continue to happen, to where you know, not saying like the old system not going to be a play, but it's going to start like truth is going to be talked about more and more because with more and more events and whatever else is to come from this. You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? But what do you think about us heading into hurricane season and these disasters and these volcanoes erupting and everything kind of waking up the planet?
We're gonna have to go on the ground, just straight up, because look up a guy on Instagram called Boneyard Alaska. On Boneyard Alaska, they're digging in the permafrost. They're finding animals. They're finding all of these bones all in one location. That means something happened on the surface that made all of these animals run to a location that wasn't burning, wasn't under destruction.
Mm,
When you going subterranean is going to be our only option because throughout history, when all these cataclysms happen, human writing stops and then it pops up again in certain locations. And these locations are synonymous with these underground cities and caverns where people are finding straight
mm,
up and down the way around it.
right. Damn, that's crazy. But I mean, everybody not gonna be able to go underground. So I mean, some people gonna have to perish.
There will always be massive lives lost. That's part of the human condition, part of surviving on this planet. Everybody can't go, everybody can't make it. When Noah built the ark, people didn't listen to him. The old world is under the ocean, for sure.
Facts. And eventually, what this world will be under the ocean too, because the sea levels will rise.
That's
I'm
why
trying to
everybody.
grasp. You said what?
Now, go ahead, bro.
No, that's what I'm just trying to figure out. Like I'm learning so much, like to where like, okay, we talk about hidden civilizations, being drowned or because the sea level rising, and eventually,
Right,
a lot will reappear though.
for sure.
In a lot of the land masses like now, like I remember California, I think piece of Texas, certain land masses will be underwater. So it's like as time progresses, it's like shit is sinking, shit is reviving. I don't know, this is kind of hard to wrap your mind around.
Look up the doomsday map and then look up all of the farmland Bill Gates has bought in the United States of America. It'll answer all your questions.
You said the doomsday map? Let
Yep.
me
Look up the
see.
doom. Compare that to all of the land Bill Gates has bought as farmland. It'll answer all your questions.
Okay. Doomsday map. Now for sure, all this it's like they all this shit calculated, bro. And it's like when people say, the strongest survive, this shit is really about surviving.
Sure.
And yeah. And I don't know, I feel like it's always gonna be this forever war though. Like just for like war will always be taking place. Like something will always need to be defeated. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And the only way that won't happen is if human beings unite. And the problem with that is 7,000 years ago, white people showed up in an area in Scandinavia. Ever since they got here, things been pretty tumultuous for everybody. And they banned abortions in America because the white human birth rate has been dropping every year. And they're the only group of the people who colonized everywhere. They're the only group on the planet who have a heightened sense of urgency. The only group on the people who seem to organize themselves better than everybody else because somebody brought them here because racism started in the cosmos. It didn't start here.
Right. Right.
For
Now
sure.
it said as far as gods, a god made the race of Caucasians to rule over us for 6,000 years. because of I think they said Yakub's disobedience, something like that. But it goes back and like you said, Cosmo.
Yeah, niggas always think they bigger than the program.
Yeah.
Facts. And if the Bible is geographically correct, that means black men killed Jesus, the Son of God.
Hmm.
So keep that in mind. So it makes sense. You know what? Let me put another group here. Since these people can't figure it out, let's put them over here and see what happens. Somebody's watching all of this. Some force, I call it the prime creator. Somebody created all of this. There's a certain amount of bacteria that has to be in the ocean for plankton to exist. The plankton exists to feed the filter feeders. The waste from the filter feeders, the detritus, falls down and feeds the creatures, the invertebrate creatures and bacteria on the surface of on the ocean floor. Somebody had to engineer that.
Right. What's something that you urgently think people should take care of right now for what's to come? Is there anything that anybody should prepare for of that you personally know from either pattern, history repeating itself, or you just knowing? What do you think will be the people's best way of, preparing now?
The only way to prepare for the future is to study history. The only way
Okay.
humans survived on this planet for so long is to take care of the land, live off the land, respect the land, take care of their bodies, free their minds. New information is always going to be needed to transcend, and nutrients that come from the earth is the only way to transcend and live long because I was just in a village in Imbu where I seen so many people in their hundreds walking up and down the street, tilling the land. And I said, man, how are they moving like this at 88, 98, 101? One of them said, we eat everything natural from the earth. It's the only way.
And how did they look? They look like 30, 40-year-olds in America? Like, how would you kind of,
They all look like they was all in their 60s. You
and
feel me?
they eat nothing but off the land, no
That's
impurities, like the air is cleaner, all that.
for sure. But you got to think about it. Big Pharma will give you suntan lotion that gives you cancer and then sell you the medicine to treat the cancer. It's all a scheme.
All,
The
yeah,
people who live outside of the matrix, they're not trapped. If everybody was not trapped, there would be no need for governments. There would be no need for a lot of things. A lot of this shit that we go through is all man-made and influenced by people that feed off human suffering, straight up and down.
right.
Yep.
Which are, I mean, they say we are, and the extraterrestrials do run the planet. They're not even, like you said, human beings.
And they don't want people to know about them. Human beings couldn't pull off this scheme by themselves. Impossible.
Facts. Unless
Yes,
they
sir.
used, I feel like the only way is like, since we don't use majority of our brain, they probably, the only way I can see that happen if their brain was unlocked. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure. And you know that's got to be part of the reason what's going on.
Right.
Somebody shortened our telomeres. Telomeres will determine how long you live. In the Bible, it says mankind's age will be shortened to 120 years. The oldest people died around 119, 120. Not a coincidence.
Hmm. So I think these are spells type.
We'll say that for the next interview.
For
Yes,
sure,
sir.
bro.